Right, I'm going to start recording again. Guys, welcome to a brand new episode of I Did It with Gary. We haven't seen one of these for a little while. I recorded a few of them like last year, and then the audio and the video came out really bad, so I didn't use them, and I kind of got scared and anxious. So I didn't put out an episode for a while, but no better way than to have our return to the airwaves than to talk to one of the people that is essentially the blueprint of what I do now, of how this service that I offer has evolved, and the training product that I'm kind of putting out in the world has kind of came to be. And as an example of someone who has kind of lived that life, been through the progression with me, has come out the other end unscathed, hopefully, and in a much better position than when I found her, which is essentially the promise of this. We are in with the wonderful Liz today. Liz, how you doing?
Hi.
Um, Liz, you've been working with me for how long do we go back now? Probably to
Um,
approaching 2 years at
yeah,
this
I'd say 2 years.
point.
2 years, February. Yeah.
And 2 years at this point. So I've done a few, I've crunched a few numbers. You are on 401 workouts now. In with
Wow.
that, you have accumulated 620 personal bests, which include 218 maximum volume, 140 10 rep maxes, 68 5 rep maxes, 33 rep maxes, 16 1 rep maxes, 118 times you have lifted a maximum weight ever. So you've tried and
Wow.
attempted and succeeded on a weight that you've never lifted before, which is the bread and butter on what we're doing. Longest time on a few things, not sure what they are. Maximum amount of reps, nine longest time, 17 maximum amount of reps, three maximum held plank tests, probably, and two fastest times. Like I said, over 400 workouts and a bevy of cardio in there as well.
Mhm.
It's been quite a journey, my friend.
Oh, it's been a really good journey with you, Gary. Honestly, it has. But just going back to how little you've done, I did it with Gary podcast. I was worried at first you were going to say that no one wanted to do it with you.
um, yeah, like I said, I don't know that I'm naturally a presenter, but I strongly believe that if there's a story to be told, there's not much of a better way than to just sit down and have a conversation about the real experiences that people have and the real difference that this and what we do together and what I do as a job now kind of genuinely improves people's lives, does what it says on the tin, promises a stronger life in a multitude of ways, not least of all within your body, but your mind and your attitude and your resilience and all that sort of stuff. So it's a privilege to have you sitting down talking to me today. Look forward to delving into some of this stuff. And I guess the best place to start when you're telling a story like this is sort of talking about our background. And some people come into the business naturally, they won't have known me before, but we were somewhat acquainted before we started working together in terms of a training capacity. I was a member at what used to be the very awesome Swale BJJ and is now involved into the even more awesome Kent Grapple down there in Sittingbourne. So we kind of were acquainted through jiu-jitsu when we started,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I knew you existed. I I knew you existed. We hadn't had any roles yet. And we were Instagram friends.
Instagram fans, and that's why, and that's how you kind of came across me and like gone, oh, that's what he does for a living. Is not just this like random dude that shows up. And like I said, like I gotta say, a lot of the my early days were with jiu-jitsu and kind of getting to know you guys and getting to know Trev, your partner, who's a very good friend of mine now. Um, and actually being in there and being such a novice, it was nice to have like familiar faces and people that you could kind of connect with outside of that. And I've like, I don't know, I don't know that we rolled many times in the run up to us working together, but certainly we had a few um tumble abouts once you started training with me and I kind of got back into it. Like, um, what was it in the first place, other than me being this fucking acquaintance of someone you know, that got you to the point where you was like, and I remember the message you sent me. It was something along the lines of fix me or sort me
It
out or
was, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where was you at that point when you kind of come into the business,
Mm.
and like what was it that you was looking for at that time?
So like you said, I was doing jiu-jitsu. We had got engaged. Had a wedding coming up. Um, I just I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with me. I wasn't happy with the way I looked. I wasn't happy that I really wanted to go out there and do it. Like I wanted to get into the gym and I wanted to do those things. And I wanted to, I saw the girls like that going in their little like matching pieces, lifting heavy things. I'm like, that's wicked. I want to do that. And honestly, the amount of times I tried, attempted to get into the gym before working with you, like I'd had panic attacks outside the gym, or I'd go in there and I'd just use the Stairmaster for 20 minutes, not look at anyone, just look straight at the wall, pretending that no one else exists because I didn't know how to do anything else, or I wasn't confident doing anything else. And I know I needed to, for how I felt about myself, I needed to change
Mm-hmm.
how I felt about exercising, but I didn't have any idea about how to do that on my own,
Okay.
really.
So, like, if we kind of go back to that time, and you said it's just a space that you didn't feel overtly comfortable in, like, how, give me an idea of how many times you did kind of go in and try and get started and try and have that renewed vigor, and like where you maybe failed or where it didn't work for you before.
I think well, I can't even tell you the amount of times I turned up at the gym and I never went in.
Yeah,
Like, and it would just be sitting outside of it. I had a gym membership.
sure.
Did I use it? No. Was I paying for it? Yes. Like, and there were so many times I just sit outside it thinking like that just wasn't a space for me, that I
Mhm.
didn't belong in it, that there was no room for me in there, that it just felt so alien for who I was then, I think. And I was doing jiu-jitsu, but like my fitness wasn't great. I was knackered. I didn't look how I wanted to. And I knew I needed to do something, and I thought one time that jiu-jitsu might be it, and I'll start doing jiu-jitsu and I'll be feel a bit better in myself and feel a bit more confident, but it just didn't really happen. And I knew that there was something else I needed, but
Yeah. And not to like, I guess, tell your story on your behalf, but even compared to now and where you're at with jiu-jitsu, like he wasn't necessarily firing on all cylinders in terms of kind of getting on the mats and getting enrolled in as well.
no, I had zero confidence really in doing the jiu-jitsu. Like, um, I would only roll with one other person really. Like when I first got into it, yeah, I had no real confidence in that either. I was just kind of trying to find a hobby that was for me,
Yeah,
and I just couldn't. I just couldn't find what it is that I fit into.
sure. Okay, so fast forward, we sat down and had quite a lengthy conversation when you first kind of was like, "Oh, what's all this about?" Then, and
When
it,
I shouted at fix me, when I shouted to you like that you needed to fix me.
and I don't know, like, I don't know that when we started that conversation that there was necessarily a vision of what it would look like, but more of a I know I need to do something, and I reckon probably I trust you enough that you can help me with this thing. Um, and the mission for you was always to kind of get into the gym and get competent with doing that and get and kind of get more confident. But even with all the will in the world, and this is not to kind of diminish the effort that we put into getting started and getting rolling in something like this. But it weren't, even with the program that you had and the nutritional guidance that we provided and all of that stuff, which is like relatively routine and what you'd expect from most online training programs, if I can use that term. Like, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing straight out of the gate either, though.
No, not at all. I think the week I signed up for you, I had an all-inclusive holiday lined up. And I had a few of those over the year. I had holidays, illnesses, like sickness. like parents that my mum hasn't been very well. And that was really hard. I had a really stressful job. I'm a social worker, like so there'll be times that I couldn't train when I wanted to. There'll be times where I really wanted to do some exercise, but I was stuck in the office or whatever that looked like. So like the environment around me wasn't always available to be doing those things either.
Yeah. I mean, there were like I say, it's like once you've got the program in place, the idea of being able to then go and execute it and then forsaking all things that are going around you is often a challenge. But we kind of put you in a place where you was able to feel a little bit more supported, especially with the nuts and bolts of kind of walking into the gym and getting the workouts done in practicality. And then to see your kind of confidence within that build and it become a little bit more part of your routine. As you transition to kind of being more comfortable in the gym, what were the kind of biggest differences, I guess, in terms of like, yeah, we would expect you would get stronger, your body starts looking better, you start feeling better. But what was like, was there any examples of any like real, I don't want to use the word profound, that again makes it sound bigger than this, but something where you went,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm starting to get it now, it's starting to click, and like the knock-on effect is let's use that word,
Yeah.
profound.
Actually, I think when I stopped seeing myself making excuses not to go, like if someone said something like, oh, I don't know, did you want to go to the pub tonight or did you want to do this tonight? Like friends, family, whatever it was, I'd be like, yeah, no, definitely. I won't go to the gym and absolutely any excuse not to go to the gym. And then I sort of found myself like, no, actually, no, I want to go to the gym tonight. And I wanted to go. And it wasn't something I had to do. It was something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when it became something that I actually really wanted to do, then I think that that was it. Like
Yeah.
I kind of flew. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what for a lot of people is like that corner turning moment. It's like there's no explicit reason for it to be something that you badly want to do when you're starting out because you and again, I choose my words carefully, but you've got no reason to get excited about it other than potentially the novelty of doing it.
Mhm.
Oh, I've got this program, I can go and follow it, I can do my reps and sets and all of that sort of stuff. But it's not something that naturally is like on day one I'm flying out of the gate. So there usually is that kind of bedding in period, if you like, when someone starts out on this. But once you was in that flow and you started getting stronger and you started kind of familiarizing yourself with the gym environment, and that all became a little bit easier. Was there any particular exercises or techniques or ways of training that you particularly gravitated to, or even stuff that you was like, oh, that still don't feel right, even though he's asking me to do that?
I I think I don't know how silly this sounds, I guess. I just really like lifting heavy things, like the
Yeah,
big things. I like the deadlifts, I like the squats, I like the big heavy stuff. And I think especially when my mum was poorly, especially when work was tough, especially when my mind was everywhere else, like in those moments when you are doing that with something really heavy and you need to do it well, don't you? Because you hurt yourself. You need to be in the mind space to be able to doing it.
sure.
So you are 100%, you are there doing it. You're not thinking about all of those other things.
Hmm.
So this like the really heavy stuff I really noticed helped with like how I like with my mindset, with my mental health, with stress, and like the gym did become like a bit of a temple, listening to like some ragey heavy music when I'm feeling like really ragey and there's a
Yeah,
thousand things going on, and lifting something picking something up that's really I used to take the mick out of Trev to do it all the time when
yeah.
Trev was in the gym and I wasn't. I was like, oh, you're gonna go lift something up, something heavy up. And he's like, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like now I'm not the same. And I get it. I get it now. Like
Yeah.
like the gym felt like a bit of a temple, I guess, when everything else was on fire in my life.
There is definitely something to be said by that, and I mean, again, like not to keep harking on about where the struggle, but it was never natural for you to go up to even a deadlift
Oh God,
platform
no.
in the first place and be like, do what you might have described as in the past as the men's bit or you know what I mean, the man equipment or whatever. Like once you kind of transitioned away from that kind of archetypal vision of what most people have with a gym, which is the machines and
Mhm.
it all
Yeah.
being very nice, controllable, and it got a little bit more dirty and a little bit more gritty. Did that like? Did it feel more like home in that instance when you was kind of in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the I remember using the leg press. So in the gym that I'm at, the leg press directly looks at where like people do deadlifts. I don't know, it's like the platform where deadlifts happen. And I'd watch people do it, and I'd be like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. But like doing it, like I remember with you, like we ended up going to a different gym, and like the deadlift like platform is a little bit around the corner. It's a bit more like aside, and I was so much more comfortable doing it there than I was doing it at my gym that I go to regularly because it felt a bit more tucked away.
Yeah,
And it really did take a long time to for me to be able to stand in the middle of my gym and do things like deadlifts and squats and stuff because I don't know, like I guess it does feel I don't want to say manly, like it doesn't feel like but I feel like as a female, like how many other girls are out there doing those things?
exactly that, exactly that. And I mean, again, like because it's let's not talk about it being the man section or whatever, but it's largely open to interpretation as to what goes on in there. It's like anyone can, I guess, look at a video of someone doing a deadlift and then see a bar on the floor and go, oh, they're like that. I can make that connection one and two. But the act of actually doing it and not just doing it to say I did it, to get to the position where you were at, which is to say, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it well, and it's going to be the best fucking lift I've ever done. This is going to be the instance, if we're talking about the deadlift in particular, where there will never be a situation where I've got this much weight in my hand and I'm able to move it from point A to point B, which is kind of became for you a major part of your aims and your wants for the gym. Yes, we started out with an aesthetic goal, and there was a wedding dress in the future, but it was never what it was never born in weight loss. That was something we literally didn't ever
No.
really fucking talk about was the scales, other than to say is the amount of calories you're having on a daily basis
Mhm.
right? Like it's not like we lived and died by what the scales said, but that idea of going the performance, the PBs, the frequency, the gonna try new stuff and push my boundaries, that kind of became a way more centralized part of your training. And that's when we kind of get the juice because if we've got that in us, that stays forever. That becomes how you understand where your wins and losses are within the gym, as opposed to kind of, um, you know, I want to look this way, or I want to weigh this much, or I want to be this small, for example. Um, and then obviously, not to kind of bash a point on the head, but the knock-on effects of you becoming stronger and more capable and more confident in a gym environment inevitably had a rollover effect
Yeah.
when it come back to not just jiu-jitsu, which we'll talk about, but the resilience of like other areas of your life and the feeling that you are legitimately going out and doing incredible things on a regular basis, in as much as what you're showing me in the gym to then enrich and bring up your confidence and make things better. But if we focus on jujitsu,
Mhm.
and again, for anyone who's not really experienced with the world of jujitsu, there is an old adage that it doesn't necessarily just because you're strong, it doesn't necessarily make you a better roller as such. But you're at our level, and I say our level now because you're at a level way above me, so not at our level anymore. At the level you've at, it's got to have made a difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it feels like buzzing. Like the rolling with like boys, rolling with men that are bigger than me, stronger than me, like the same sort of level as me, but like when you're rolling with them and you're sparring and there's a guy that we're friends with at the club and I was rolling with him. It's the first time I rolled with him actually. And afterwards he went, oh, you're strong. And I text him immediately. I was so pleased with myself. And he's like, honestly, like normally like rolling with girls, I do like leave off a little bit because I don't want to use my strength and he wants to use his skill and stuff. And he was like, I was just rolling with you. Like I wasn't not using my strength. And like it's stuff like that when you're there and like there's guys that they're like, oh, she's strong, and that feels great.
I mean, it's a wicked byproduct of all the stuff you've done. But I mean, again, we were in the end, we weren't just talking about reps and sets and lifting as much weight and doing great at deadlifts, which all helps. But we tried to, as much as we can, make it somewhat jiu-jitsu specific in areas in terms of like the core stability and stuff and all that sort of stuff. And again, the more you challenge your body and the more you go out to kind of go into complex movements, the more it's going to help you in a practice that is not uniform. It's not forward and backward, side to side, like I tend to teach in weight training. It's multifaceted, it's rotational, it's random in a lot of instances. And you got to be able to have your reaction time, kind of be able to respond to that, which is kind of where we kind of moved your training towards in the end. I want to kind of keep, highlighting all of the amazing things that have happened to you that are outside of the idea of, yes, you've got a fantastic body. I've got a picture of you that is you doing a single bicep in a lovely looking dress, and I'll flash it up on the screen so people can see that. Like these moments, she's never flashing a double. She's never flashing a bicep in a picture like ever up until like the time when we
No,
started
definitely.
working together.
That was my best friend's wedding. That was a bridesmaid dress for my best friend's wedding. I remember it, and I felt fantastic. Like I didn't just feel like skinny and little and delicate. Like I felt good. I felt strong, and like don't think skinny, little, and delicate suits me. It's not
It
something.
was just never the goal. It was like,
No, it's never what I've wanted.
if anything, it was overtly want to take up more room, want to be bigger, want to be formidable, want boys to say I'm strong. Like, not as a specific thing, but that sort of like, I want to, I want to be scary. I want to be formidable. I want to be formidable more than I want to be slight. You know what I mean? I want to take up more space more than I want to be diminutive. You know what I mean? And that's like,
absolutely.
and obviously someone like myself, that's kind of music to my ears because that's like a real. We can get hold of this and we can get like scratchy and we can get dirty with it. And sometimes it's going to suck. Sometimes it's going to be the last thing you want to do. And especially, I mean, again, and we'll get onto this in a minute. You've had very like I'm going to use that word again, but like you've had very definite times when shit's been hitting the fan in other facets of your life. And like, I don't want to go into specifics about your mum, but obviously your mum weren't well, and that was a big thing. And then things were shitty at your job for a little while, and you kind of got signed off with that. Like, to what extent of having that structure of just going like these are my non-negotiables essentially? That's like the mindset we ended up having. It's like once we got through that mire of going, sometimes it's hard, and don't really like how that feels, but I'm getting used to it. Having that there, having that routine, and having that structure of saying I'm just gonna park all that for a minute. Like, how important was that for you in terms of some of the stresses that you've had over the last couple of years?
It's honestly, I don't want to. It sounds ridiculous, like that it saved me or whatever like that. But honestly, my brain, my mental health, like I know I need exercise. Like I know that I need to keep myself healthy. I know I need to heavy. I need to keep myself like moving, and I know that like when I don't, like I'm frazzled. Like that routine, that structure, like being at the gym, knowing the things I'm going to do, like this is what it looks like, no matter how changeable everything else is in my life, like that I'll know that I'm going to the gym tonight. I've got jiu-jitsu tonight. That I've got those exact things that no matter what's happening, that I can't control, I can control those things.
Yeah.
And no matter like how hard it gets, those things, they'll always be there. Sure. And that always like that was so like you said, when I got signed off, and work was really tough. Like just because work was tough, but also it was really compounded by everything that was going on with like home life and mum being poorly. the like having the constant structure of having the gym and having a place to go was I don't I don't know how I would have got through that time had I not.
Mhm.
That is really important.
That's awesome. And I guess like just to kind of put a bow on this conversation, obviously a lot of the impetus of why we started out was to prepare you for your wedding, where again there was a dress, the BJJ event of the year, and we'll go into my involvement in that in a second. But very much we set out with that date in mind.
Yeah.
And obviously we wanted not only to get you to a point where you was happy in the dress and you was confident and you felt good on that wedding day, but in a wider view, to get you to the point where you was prepared for whatever was going to follow it after we got to that date when we stopped working together in that way. And what that looked like for you was to be able to progress onto kind of an app access only model and just be able to have that facility to be able to continue tracking your workouts, planning your stuff, and going and executing like you had done the whole time when we was doing when we was in when we was within the Stronger Life system. Like, yeah, it's probably hard to think back objectively now to how you were and where your mindset would have been when you started, but like in what ways are you better equipped to kind of make those distinctions now and have that planning and have that for yourself as opposed to relying on the trainer model which we had? Like, what's your plan now? What are you going ahead and doing? Do you genuinely feel like equipped to be able to go on and do that for yourself now?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really enjoying not having you, Gary. Don't That's not the words that I want to use. I love you. I love you in my life. But the like having I've really like this is my last month on the app, and I've really made an effort this month. So what I was always really worried about is stop working with you and then just never going to the gym again.
Sure.
And so then that's why I went just to app only, and I had our programs on there that I was still able to follow, and I still kind of had a little bit of Gary hand holding, just a little bit.
You'll always
And
have a little bit of Gary.
and I was able to still follow that program, but it was less prescripted. So then less we're doing these on these days, and more me saying actually I'm doing these on these days.
Exactly right.
And then now I'm making a real effort this month, knowing it's my last month with Gary, to have the app as my backup,
Yeah.
to have it as a space I can still log exercises and I can still use it for that. And as a little safety net for I want to do this thing, but I don't know how to do it. There's a video there. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I am trying to do things like I'm trying to do a leg day, I'm trying to do a push day, I'm trying to do a pull day, and I'm trying to put those things together myself. And it's that knowledge that I've kind of gained over the past 2 years that I'm able to kind of all pull together and go to the gym 3 times a week, alongside jiu-jitsu twice a week. And I've started Pilates. Who would have thought?
Pilates as well, which is excellent. Which is like it's all I could have ever hoped for you to be able to go through a transition with me with, like pretty detailed guidance and a lot of attention to detail to make sure that you can...
Gary, the amount of videos that I sent you of me doing things, being like, is this right? Is that right? Gary, I'm doing this.
Exactly that. But to be able to put you in a position that when you get out, that you're equipped and you're able to do it so that you never have to, really, never have to pay for it again. You know what I mean? Like, never have to put yourself in a position where you're going, I won't ever not have a clue again. I won't ever be ill-informed again. I'll be able to go and execute, which is testament to you. And again, it's the results and the progressions of people like you that make me know that this is something that's doable, because not everyone wins. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the truth of it. It's like you've got to have something within yourself to be able to go out and execute and thrive within this. I make it as comfortable and easy as possible for people to be able to do that. But, you know, like a lot of what the vast majority of what you've achieved has been off of your endeavor and your hard work with a little bit of like Gary guidance going, this is how it's going to look. You just got to
Gary
go.
guidance should be a dictionary term.
Exactly. I would be remiss to like end this conversation without at least talking about how drunk I was at your wedding. It's something that I got into a lot of trouble with. I feel like I lost the key that night. I spent a fortune getting home. How
Yeah.
important was it for you on that day to have an absolutely shit-faced personal trainer introducing themselves to your parents?
It was really important to me. I think like actually the whole process, like I know that like you spoke about how we were acquainted before and that we did know each other through jiu-jitsu, but I don't know if me just not like if I didn't do this process with you, Gary, if like you would have come like we would have invited you to the wedding because
Sure.
like
That's fair enough.
because
Fair
like we
comment.
spent so much time together and like you'd fallen out of the jiu-jitsu kind of community really like you had a move and stuff, it was harder for you to
Some would
come.
argue I was forcibly kicked out of the sitting bone community, not the swell BJJ community. But
It was the
you
pink gi,
say to
Gary, people just didn't
yourself.
like pink gi.
Well, I had a big location change, and suddenly I
No,
wasn't 5
exactly,
minutes down the road
but
anymore.
so like the importance of you during that time for me like amongst my family, so my mum, my mother-in-law, my sister, my best friend that was there when I tried my wedding dress on, you were the next person that saw what my wedding dress looked like.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that and it is really important. Like, I sent you a picture of my wedding dress, and I was like, I need to be able to look good in this. Like, this is it.
And
And
look good you did.
thank you so much.
I will leave you guys with that little clip of me at the wedding, thoroughly inebriated and embarrassing myself and upsetting my then girlfriend at the time. But like you said, it was a privilege for me to have been there in body, if not in mind, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world. And to see you shining on that day and happy and looking amazing and just the change that I'd seen in the run up to that
Yeah.
in you and the trials and tribulations that we went through on that journey as well. Like I said, just put the perfect bow on our journey through that
Definitely.
phase that we did. And again,
Yeah.
the fact that you're able to sit here today and objectively say my life is stronger, my life is better, I am in a much better place from doing
Oh,
it is a
massively. Like, I couldn't. I would hate to think like not where I was, but without having like the support of like you during like the last few years when it's all been a bit tough and having the gym and available to me and having all that knowledge available to me. Like I just I feel I think resilient is the word. Like you said it earlier, I do feel like it's really helped my resilience and like it's been really important like for my mental health. It's been really important for my physical health, and it's really important that on my wedding day I didn't go, I really hate my arms.
yeah. This if this cuts off in the middle of this stream of sentence, get back on. But there's like a 40-second barrier. Liz, thank you so much for joining us today and talking us through that whole story. It's been an amazing transition and journey with you. Your story will be told as long as this thing exists of what I do. So I'm grateful to you. Thanks very much for joining us. You take care.
Thank you very much. Thanks,
All
Gary.
right, all right, guys. Thanks for